What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the LPL. You can see, once again, the Shanghai Art Museum. The one thing I know about Shanghai, and so I say it every time I see it on my screen. I'm Munchables. I'm joined by Dagda as we head towards our second series of the day. And Dagda, we start off with a banger. LGD versus JDG, going the full 3 games, and exceptionally exciting games as well. LGD coming out on top. I'm starting to get hyped about LGD, and that makes me scared, Dagda.
It does, especially after Worlds last year, right? You're kind of like, oh, I don't know if I want to fully believe, but definitely I'm excited. It doesn't matter. Like, at this stage, when you're looking towards, like, Shadow, I think he looks great in the jungle. Kramer looking better on the Ezreal than he has in some of the previous series. And certainly Shie, like, this is a guy that kind of has a little bit of a special place in my heart. I love watching Shie. I think the guy looked absolutely unbelievable. And I was sad that we didn't get to see him in spring because he was on the kind of the bench for JDG, but he's now back with a vengeance and looks so good.
It sure is. Plenty of playmaking mids to be playing as well. But we're going towards our second series, and we're on a delayed feed, everyone. So I apologize, chat. You're going to be in emote prison for a bit because we're going to be slightly behind what's going on the Chinese feed. So let's quickly talk draft, Dagda. These are the picks coming on through. High priority on Twisted Fate here for BLG. Oh, wait, no, so it's backwards. It's high priority on Nocturne. It's counter pick for Twisted Fate.
You do get this, like, at least for BLG, the Nocturne Twisted Fate combo coming in. So a lot of pressure in towards side lanes, and you can also pair them up super well. So I like this style. The Karma as well is going to enable that Udyr quite a bit as well. So certainly kind of a pick composition, strong side lane control, and you'll be looking to see if you can try and use that to gain advantages towards these objectives where you can make a pick happen. On the opposite side for Sunny, a combo that I think we're going to see a hell of a lot more often is Xin Xiao paired with these enchanters. Like, this is such a strong combo. It enables the Xin Xiao incredibly well. And then when you look towards like the late game scaling coming through from the Gwen, I think you've got a very strong team fighting composition alongside that late game scaling AD carrying the Jinx.
Yeah, the Jinx is always going to be one of those picks that if you make the game last long enough, Jinx can come up trumps and just manage to win one of those late game team fights with the AoE rockets, especially once you've got a Hurricane there. But Ezreal Karma, certainly no slouch. A lot of poke in that lane, and Jinx takes a while to get online, so it does feel like the priority in that bottom side may well go the way of BLG. They've got a Twisted Fate as well. They've got a Nocturne as well. This does feel like BLG, if they can make things happen towards the bottom side of the map, maybe get a couple of ganks on the top side as well, they could get these lanes snowballing and take control of the map.
Already looking to snowball. Looks like they've got out Bin, who's going a bit aggressive.
He stood on a ward. He doesn't realize it. Now he's in a 2v1. He doesn't have flash because he's going Ignite TP. Bin, it's all falling apart, and he starts the game off in the trash.
And already you can see the minion wave is here, right? So he's got to burn that TP to get back to lane, giving you a hell of a lot of control towards Bilibili on that top side. And this is what I wanted to see from BLG. With this composition, you need to get the ball rolling, especially when you have that level 6 available for Zika, playing towards Bilibili on that top side, because you want to get these towers out early, start to take over these side lanes, and snowball the game aggressively. And that's going to be a big test for BLG. Historically, at least this season, or split, they haven't been the best at snowballing when it comes to the mid-game. The mid-game for them has been very weak. So this is a composition where I want to see them active and running away with this game.
Especially Zika on that Twisted Fate. Feels like that's the kind of pick that you have to be the difference maker on with the hook, but aiming. Happy to sidestep that one. So the level 2 spike not going to lead to too much for the side of Suning. But I like to see him being aggressive on this Thresh. Definitely a player that we're wanting to see more from. But we have to take a moment and talk about this Lulu mid deck, because we don't usually see Lulu mid right now. Do you think this is the way the meta is going to end up panning out, that we just have control mages mid once again?
I wouldn't be surprised if we see it a little bit more, having these enchanters made. Now, we've already seen it a little bit coming through with LNG, where Icon played it, and it's specifically to empower a lot of these junglers, like the Xin Xiao is the main one that stands out to me, because you can go for... Oh, hang on.
PP God's been hooked and ignited, flashes away, but Huanfeng actually can't chase this one. Aiming's go for the kill instead, and BLG are the ones to get the first blood. Can the shields come through from PP God? Huanfeng in a 2v1. Is Aiming trying to close the gap once again? Does have his flash available. There's the shield coming on through. The flash the Q, but it's dodged by Huanfeng, and he gets away with it.
It's the bait and outsmart them coming through from PP God. He meant to tank the hook, I'm sure, and make sure that he was able to get that kill. But now you got 2 kills. You can see way even teetering down here to make sure he can keep this bot lane safe. So big swing for BLG in this bottom lane. And already 2 kills on the board for these guys. Now you can see it here. Like, it's a good hook from onto PP God. But right now, you just don't really have the damage to follow up on it. The shield comes through from PP God, and On taking a lot of damage with great positioning from aiming to just turn that damage around. This is one of the things about Thresh in the early stages. When you're running this Guardian, you don't actually have a huge amount of tanky stats, especially if you don't have that available. So you can see aiming able to burn through the health bar on this Thresh, and nearly Huanfeng as well.
I'm not gonna lie though, Dagda. I feel like if Huanfeng uses his flash aggressively there, chases the kill on Karma, like it only took one more auto attack to finish that one off. I think maybe they win the 2v2. Because then Huanfeng, who's got the get excited passive as well, can just rail on the Ezreal, and suddenly aiming is going to be stuck up a creek without a paddle. So I'm
very
not sure.
close,
I feel like
one more
kind of
auto.
misplayed that.
With the shield, there was one more auto, and I'm not 100% certain if there was enough damage with the shield to finish off the Karma. And if you don't finish her off in that situation, you just flash forward, she has the speed up from the shield, and you don't get anything. So it was super, super close. And unfortunately, I can't do the math quick enough at this stage. But bot side here for BLG.
Both junglers are here as well. We'll see if something comes of this one. There's a control ward that Weiwei will move in and clear. He doesn't know SOFM is here, and a level up as well. And it looks like everything's going to be diffused. But with priority in this bottom side, Weiwei could look towards that Drake, but I think he's going to forego that for now. Continue to try and play around the map, go for those camps on the top side.
Yeah, the big thing here for Weiwei, and honestly for Zeke, is like trying to get this mid wave shoved in. You really want to get this reset coming in on this wave for Zeke. He backs, he's able to teleport into lane, although it looks like he's actually got the free recall off to get those boots. So he's going to be looking at level 6 being hit in about 45 seconds, and then looking to see if he can make these plays. And you can see here, Bin, his wave is not going to be in the optimal position. You can have Bubu freeze this just outside his tower. You can even look bot side as well for a potential gank if Weiwei's down there. But I really think that with Zeke here, you're going to start roaming up top, trying to punish this Gwen, especially the fact she still has no TP and no flash.
Yeah, we'll have to see if that's all going to come down here. One thing I do want to mention is PP God goes quite aggressive in this bottom side. It's just going to be the poke coming on through. This is what we talked about earlier, right? The 2v2, exceptionally good at snowballing here. I want to talk about this mid-jungle duo, though, because we've got Twisted Fate Udyr, not exactly going to have a lot of kill threat in the 2v2. You have a lot of CC, but neither of them bringing that much damage to the table. Whereas Xin Zhao Lulu, that's a pairing that can get some work done. SOFM really being the carry from the jungle in this comp.
Yeah, it's a big factor here, and it's something that we kind of touched on, but I may not get a chance here as well, as we're starting to get a huge amount of pressure down towards this dragon. Scuttle going to be picked up, and yeah, it looks like it's grand. So you can see the kind of the pairing there is that like you get a bunch of attack speed, all these shields, and a speed up as well for the Xin Zhao, who gets this invulnerability off his ult. So when you are able to get these Gore Drinkers, Sterix, the Essence Reaver build, you become incredibly tanky, very hard to beat down, but you've got an crazy amount of damage and a lot of CC as well, because that increased attack speed means you get the knock up. So I think certainly for this composition, you're going to see a super high amount of damage coming out from this Xin Zhao if SOFM is able to get the ball rolling. And in compositions like this, it's not surprising to see the Xin Zhao doing like 23 to 25% of the team's damage from a jungler who usually averages like 18% of the team's damage.
Yeah, it's going to be a question of whether SOFM can be the carry at the end of the day. And we all know SOFM has been known to make some questionable decisions sometimes. Another hook from On, but even with SOFM, the brush is not quite going to land. But BLG, they don't know that SOFM is here just yet. He's teetering on the very edge of vision range. Jalen his recall. I don't think he's going to be able to go for this one. On not level 6. Huanfeng wants to head back to base by the looks of things. Though we will cancel that. The wave would have crashed if he'd gone back. Does feel like this has been actually a very slow early game, despite the 2 early kills from BLG. Now we've got that level 6 for Zeke. He's resetting. He'll come back to lane. You've got to expect Destiny's going to come out.
Yeah, I was hoping it would be a little bit faster though. Actually, surprising to see the build coming through from Zeke. He's the Hextech Alternator, so he's actually going to be going towards the Rocket Belt. So he's looking to kind of be another damage dealer, whereas we traditionally see the Everfrost into the Rapid Fire Cannon because it's a lot better at picks, and obviously you get the increased amount of CC. So I think I would have preferred the Everfrost just from the pick perspective with the amount of damage you have from Bubu and aiming, but looks like he's going to be trying to deal a little bit more in these fights.
Fights. Here we go. Nocturne goes flying into the back line, and there's a Thresh Express straight out to safety. Sitting like, you know what? Not too keen on this one. They all back away. will mean that the Herald's taken by BLG. They're 5 strong. They can happily go for this one. Bin is big, but he is still just a stuffed doll walking into 5 people. It's never really going to end well, is it?
Especially when you're 4 versus 5. Huanfeng was still trying to come from base, and they opt into that play. So you were kind of mentioning earlier on, Munch, sometimes we see some questionable decision-making from Suning. Definitely think that was one of them.
Yeah, I'm really not convinced by that one from Bin going in after the Herald is down as well. Trying to make the play, trying to, you know, miraculously 1v5. And the thing is, Gwen can do that, but not when you've not even finished tonight. Not when the rest of your team isn't there. Not when BLG are clearly all grouped up just waiting for you to walk in. And then there's the Karma there. So there's the extra sustainability for the team, the extra... Having a Karma in your composition is kind of like having a Mountain Soul, right? Where every so often, everyone on the team is going to have a massive shield.
And that's the thing as well, like right now, she still deals a fair amount of damage as well in these fights. But the big thing as well was like, well, one, you did have Huanfeng, right? The team for Suning was incredibly split up, where you had like half the team on one side of the wall, half the team on the other. And you're looking at BLG fully grouped up and ready for you coming into that play. So a curious decision from them. But at least coming through for BLG, you're going to be pretty happy, right? Because we talked about this was the team that wants to snowball. Well, you got a kill now coming over towards Aiming. He's looking good. You've got 2 kills on that mid and jungle as well. And now they're starting with the Dragon. And Suning, I mean, I thought once bitten, twice shy, but maybe not.
Well, the top laner's up on the top side this time as Suning move in. SOFM very confident on this Sin's out early on, just gets the smite. It was on 200 after the true shot barrage there from Aiming. But it will be Suning that grab it in the end. BuBu now looking for a solo attempt on the top side and Bin turning it around. Good damage from the scissors. But BuBu knows he has the advantage.
Yeah, and I like that he's pushing this aggressively, but I want to see him getting help here as well. I want to see Zika getting up there. I want Weiwei up there. I want to see them looking for these dives. Now, Zika did use the Destiny in that earlier skirmish up towards the Rift Herald, so he doesn't have that available. Just about to pop off now. So I want to see him shove this wave and actually look for the plays. Even with Weiwei having this Rift Herald as well, you can quickly get through this tower and start to unlock BuBu to then make his own plays with the Paranoia.
And I want to take a moment while I'm not expecting any fights to happen in the next couple of seconds here. I could be wrong, but I'm not expecting it. I want to talk about BuBu a bit, because you can see BuBu getting a massive advantage in this matchup, right? 4 plates taken, 15 CS lead, the 2 assists to Bin's 2 deaths. It's not looking good for Bin right now. But when you think about what happened in 2020, Bin easily got the better end of the deal. BuBu left Suning. These were the 2 top laners fighting for a position on Suning. And then Bin was the one that massively succeeded, went all the way to Worlds Finals. In this matchup, there's a little bit of personal rivalry between BuBu and Bin, and BuBu's winning it out right now.
Yeah, and it's great when we actually get to see them fight up against each other, because they are 2 insanely aggressive top laners who love to go trade. But BuBu, the hero ward there, spotting out SOFM and making sure that he wasn't going to go down. He's going to lose a lot of minions to this tower though, and Bane actually getting a good amount of this turret plate as well for himself. So nice little bit of back and forth there to at least get some gold in favor for Bane. As BLG, they're going to try and crack this mid lane turret.
Yeah, the question is it worth it for this top lane play? Because SFM spending a lot of time there. Rocket just going to sail on by there as the Herald will be finished. These caster minions might get that last plate. It's going to be, by the looks of things, 2 plates on the top side here. So all in all, BLG still actually coming out on top. There's only 1 plate remaining in the mid lane, 1 plate remaining in the top side. Feels like Suning falling behind pretty rapidly here too. 1,000 gold lead right now for BLG.
Yeah, but again, like, we're not actually seeing we're seeing some work from BLG, right? But it's all individual plays. And I think this has been my biggest gripe with BLG, is that we're not seeing Weiwei getting involved in the lanes as much as I would like. Or even, honestly, like Zika here, we've talked about him having the opportunity to Destiny out of that lane. The coordination between the teams, specifically in the mid game, hasn't quite been working out. And even now we're seeing it in the early stages as well. So I think from this perspective, like, if Suning are able to at least, hold on to their tier 2s here, they should be in a good spot. But I'd love to see BLG really kick up the pace of the game, get Zika out of lane, actually start to make plays across the map.
It's Suning right now that are kicking up the pace. As PP God has to flash, but he's flayed, he's hooked, he will go down. Huanfeng given the kill there by SOFM. That's a really great opportunity for Suning now. Play towards the top side coming out from BLG. Answering on the opposite side of the map. Bin stuck in a 1v3. Will be locked up the Ignite. Taken onto BuBu, but he can't finish the kill on this Gwen. 0-3-0 for the world's finalist top laner.
Yeah, and I mean, this is kind of the story of Gwen. Like, the second she's in the game and she's not running flat. Oh, Amy, though.
Every fight we get, Huanfeng just blasts a rocket up and it's gone wide every time. It's like Yanko's spears are going to be rivaled now by Huanfeng rockets soon.
But yeah, I mean, look, he's trying to see if he can kill the wave. Doesn't matter, though. They still get the top lane tower here for BLG. So now you can get the mid lane turret as well with a little bit of pressure. But this is what I wanted to see. Now we've got BLG opting into this 1-3-1 that we talked about. They can actually start to put pressure on towards this mid lane. Like, you can never try and defend this mid lane turret as Suning without multiple people there, because you'll always end up in a situation where Zika can Destiny in, BuBu with the paranoia. And if you're 1 to 2 people under that turret and suddenly 5 members of BLG show up, it's not going to be a good time.
Definitely not. And here's the thing about this composition from BLG is you kind of have a similar deal to what Suning bring with this Lulu mid, right? When you've got the Karma in support, there is a serious amount of appeal that that's going to offer in the fight. So even when we're seeing Suning making these attempts, the question is, will they have the damage to finish players off? Because if that initial burst coming out, if they can't chase people down, it's going to be very difficult for Suning to really operate in these fights. And BLG, if they can start things off again, you're talking about we wanted to see Zika being active, the Destiny up towards the top side, catches out Bin. It does feel like BLG, they understand their game plan. They are enacting it.
Yeah, and I'd love to actually see them try and give up this Rift Herald now to just double down on that, right? Have Zika actually teleport to the bot side, give up the Rift Herald, and go for the cross map, because getting these turrets down just allows them to push Suning back that little bit further. Then they can start to be that a little bit closer, so Paranoias and Destinies have more impact, and you can actually create a huge amount of pressure that Suning are going to struggle to deal with.
Bin wants a 1v1 on this bottom side, and to be fair to Bin, even though he's lost out every fight so far, he's finished a Rift Maker now, and he's got close to a kill each time. Here we go, gold card in the needlework. I mean, it's not going to do anything, is it? Maybe I got a bit excited by the previous fights. He just got one shot that time.
And this is what we were just talking about, right? Look, you will give up top tower, you will give up Rift Herald, but for BLG, it's more important about getting these outer turrets down to make that 1-3-1 easier, pushing back Suning the full way, and now you can get full control of the jungle. So if you ever see one person like wandering through the jungle by themselves, you can look for the Paranoia Destiny play, you can look for these picks, and even having that Ezreal ult just to slide across the top as well means the global pressure from BLG is going to be so difficult for Suning to deal with.
That's 4 towers now taken by BLG, and this is the kind of performance we were hoping to see more regularly from this BLG squad, right? When we came into the split, a lot of people were getting pretty excited about Weiwei and PP God being on the BLG roster, moving over together. We've got BuBu, who used to be on V5 as well. Like, feels like this was finally something that could work for BLG.
Somebody's hit the wrong button. Rift Herald wandered up mid. Now, we will actually get the charge off, but that was a long old walk as a mid lane turret will go down. Now, Suning trying to see if they can get some pressure back for themselves, but Zika is pushing top side, and you always got to be careful of how far this Twisted Fate can push.
It's true. Twisted Fate up on the top side. Zika getting some pressure down. You can see a billion pings going up towards the top side of the map. Both teams moving over as fast as they possibly can. Zika will get some decent damage down. I don't expect that he'll be able to finish this tower unless they get this pick onto Angel. He's taken the wrong path. He didn't respect that BLG have taken over the top side of the map. And this will be both tier 2s in the side lanes taken by BLG now, aiming at a 1v1 with SOFM, and he's winning this one. The Xin Zhao is meant to be able to take him down, but it just ain't happening right now. Weiwei pulled underneath the tower. He's playing the Zood here. Shield's not enough, though. He will go down. The resets for Huanfeng, maybe the chance for Suning. Maybe a time to hear them roar, but it's not going to happen for now. I'll have to settle for a minion wave in the mid lane and a tower in the bot side, but they're not winning these trades, Dexter.
Huanfeng still misses the ultimate at point blank range. It does not matter. But either way, they get the kill on towards the Udyr here. Again, though, like, it's good from BLG to make that top lane play. And this is what we're saying. Look, if you're wandering through this jungle of Suning, you are going to get caught out. It doesn't belong to you anymore. And with the globals, it's so easy to jump onto these targets with the low health. But the problem was, they didn't just take top lane tower and back away. They tried to take too much, and Aiming here kind of sets up Weiwei for defeat as he ends up running into multiple members of Suning.
Well, we said we wanted proactivity, and we've got proactivity galore from BLG here this game. And when we look across these rosters, when you think about the two junglers, you'd expect it really to be more SOFM that's driving forward with this composition, with the Lulu behind him. He's on the Xin Zhao. But actually, it's Weiwei that's had way more influence in this game. Him and Zeke are working as a duo to get into the side lanes. And Bin, look, I want to quickly say, because I'm sure chat, if they weren't stuck in emote-only mode, would be flaming Bin right now. He has been completely abandoned by Suning. This is one of those games where you're playing weak side, your team is not interested in helping you. They're going to play the opposite side of the map. And this is the kind of scoreline that happens when that happens.
You say one of those games, it's kind of been one of those seasons for Bin, to be honest. Like, ever since Sword Art's left this team, Bin has just been abandoned on this top side. Like, you try to get some pressure coming through from SOFM up there, but like, previously we used to see Sword Art and SOFM constantly up there. Now, if you look at like the, 3 series now that we've seen played by Suning, they have a 0% first blood rate. They haven't managed to get it whatsoever. And like, or at least SOFM hasn't been a part of it. And the fact that they're now seeing that this style is where Bin is going, hey, look, I really want to play aggressive. I want to be able to do what we know Bin is capable of, but he's not being given those resources anymore. And on a pick like Gwen, especially because you're not running the flash, if you get that level 1 play where they kill you, then you have to TP back, they kill you again, like, it's never going to look good for you.
Yeah, that's the thing, is we did get to see a game where that happened a little bit, right? In the first game against Up, we saw the Camille come out from Bin. There was a little bit of focus towards him and really got to snowball. And it was like, okay, Bin's back, let's go. This is the kind of gameplay that we're looking for. But that's pretty much the only game the whole season. And now we're going to fight in the mid lane. Zeke has actually taken low, has to flash away himself. Swanfong putting the pressure on Weiwei now. He runs, he won't stun because he's running the opposite direction this time. SOFM is actually going to go in for the play, gets the knockup onto Weiwei, who is damn tanky, but the shields just aren't going to be enough. The hook from On is beautiful onto PP God. And that's actually a Baron attempt now from Suning.
That's a big win for Suning and a bit of a blunder from BLG. Instead of trying to make sure that there was only 1 to 2 people for that play, they try to jump as 5 men on towards the 3 strong for Suning. And they can't burst them out. There's not enough damage. Now BLG trying to contest this Baron though.
Oh, another hook from On, the guy that's been criticized so much from Suning's side. BLG moving away, trying to contest this one. An early smite out from SOFM just to survive on this one as they go for the fight. Onto BLG, but aiming. This is his chance to pop off. Zika moving in. Red card locked is not the play, but it will be enough for Suning to back away.
Just about. So they end up trading 1 for 1 at Baron, but obviously you had those kills going across early, so a bit of a gold swing coming back for Suning, still sitting about 2k gold behind, but I think it'll be BLG now realizing, hey look, we've got to take this slower. Although we had a big gold lead, we can't just willy-nilly run into Suning. When you've got hooks coming through from On, when you've got enough shields and also a hell of a lot of survivability that Angel can dish around between the team, trying to pick off someone with that Lulu around is not going to be easy. So definitely need to take this slower and see if they can try and play out those side lanes, draw multiple members over, and hell, even go for something like BuBu and Zika working together in the same lane.
And the fact that, like you're saying, that gold lead does still exist, but it's the exact same amount of gold 10 minutes on into the game. Let's take another look, because it feels like they're trying to get onto Huanfeng, but it's just impossible.
But they jumped on towards On, which obviously with him being able to go golden did not work out well at all, but it was still like Weiwei not really in a position. So in the best of times it was a 3v4, but you could see how close the likes of SOFM were positioned. Bin also able to come across in time too, so yeah, I think Aiming expected that hook to hit him. You can see he even burnt the cleanse, thinking the hook was going to connect with them, but actually managed to skirt past the Ezreal onto PP God. And I mean, right now, hey, we were talking about late game scaling, right? 4 kills on towards Huanfeng in that fight. He's got the rapid fire cannon now. He's almost got the infinity edge. Like, he's hitting critical mass. The person that we're only waiting on to come online is Bin, who, once he gets that cosmic drive, is kind of in the same position. So it's not that far now from Suning actually having weathered the storm and got to the point they're strong.
I mean, mate, even just 2 items on Jinx, it's enough. With a BF sword in there, it is enough to take over a fight. If you get them resets, if you get excited. And let's be honest, when you look at where the gold is for the 2 teams, 4-0-1 on the Jinx, 3-0-1 on Twisted Fate is not really the same level of snowball. It's not really even in the same conversation.
Yeah, at least we did see the more damage-oriented build come out from Zika with the Lich Bane and also the Rocket Belt. So he can add a little bit more damage and utilize this gold income a bit better from at least the DPS perspective. But I think the bigger problem that I'm looking at for BLG is, like, look at the waves right now, right? You've got the Nocturne who's shoving in on the bottom side. He's not really linked up with Zika, and this has kind of been the story of this game, is like, you're trying to get these waves all pushing at the same time, but you just don't have the coordination from BLG.
BLG using that bot pressure though, because BLG does have TP, so at least he can get some side lane pressure going on. Bin's going to be able to answer though with his own TP in that bottom side of the map. It feels like Baron is the thing on everyone's minds right now. We don't have a Drake for another 2.5 minutes, so it does feel like inevitably Baron is the call. And as you said, Dagda, we are getting to the point where this Suning composition starts to exist. Huanfeng now just finished his 3rd item, and it's a Stormbracer. It feels like the whole idea for Suning here is just survive the all-in, survive the pick, and then chase people down. You got Lulu with the slows. You got Xin Zhao that can close the gap and get wild growth. You've got a Stormrazor on the Jinx with a rapid fire cannon. So with the pow Q, with the extra rage, and then a slow on that auto attack with the zaps coming up through, and then a Thresh on top of all of that. How do you ever escape if Suning are on the chase?
Yeah, well, you're hoping as BLG that you never get to that situation, right? The whole idea is, hey, look, we're going to play out these side lanes. We're going to try and make sure that we're putting pressure elsewhere, so we're the ones actively making the picks. If you ever end up in a 5v5 straight-up team fight, you do lose out as BLG. And I think that's the problem that I'm seeing right now, again, is like coming back to these lane states. Cool, you just shoved in top wave. Zika has to back right the way off because BLG isn't in position. And Bin has been the benefactor of these mismatched lanes because he's clearing top side, walking bot lane, picking up another wave, and then just teetering on back towards top to pick up another one. So Bin is actually getting a huge amount of gold put into him right now because they know he's the last man standing. He's the one that needs just a little bit of a pick-me-up, and then he's good to go. So Suning, as you can see now, a little bit more confident to shove up this mid wave because there's just not the coordination from BLG to try and go for these picks.
Wei Wei gets slowed. Here is the chain slow that we were talking about. Wei Wei gets out with his life, though. As you're saying, BLG not really wanting a 5v5, and it feels like both teams have to stall out until this Drake comes up in a minute's time. BLG teetering on this side. Zika is currently pushing in the top lane, trying to get that side lane pressure that you were asking for from BLG. Bin should be able to answer, though, and Gwen's pretty damn good at clearing those waves.
Well, what I'd love to see is Zika and BLG pushing in that top side, right? You create pressure on the top side of the map. It's actually what Suning did really well against this game in game 2 against IG, where you create too much pressure. Oh, PP God.
Dagda, they're getting chased out again. This is exactly what Suning wants. PP God goes down once more. 0-3 now for the young deity. And it should just be a Drake going the way of Suning. This will be 2 Drakes apiece, and it feels like all the advantages that BLG got in the early game are slowly but surely slipping away. And with both solo laners pushing side lanes, how is it fair that Bin is able to deal with both? This is not how you use pressure, BLG.
Well, this is what we're talking about, right? Mismanaging the side waves, but also, I want to see Zika and BLG in the same lane. Like, if Dragon's up, right? Plonk the 2 of them in top lane. As Bin, you cannot deal with both of them being there. And if Angel is separated, because he's the only one with TP, if he's got to come and deal with Bin on the side lane pressure, you just jump onto Huanfeng. There's no way that Huanfeng can survive both the Destiny, the Paranoia, and everything else is being tossed his direction. But instead, we're just having BLG pottering waves back and forth. We're ping-ponging all over the place. Bin is getting all this gold, and there's what you talked about, Munch, like, just that slow into the follow-up damage, plus the Shurelya's to make sure that you're definitely catching up. There's just no stopping them.
Yeah, if they ever just get a singular auto on, you're never getting away from that one. Suning feels like this kind of, I'm going to dub it the chase down composition, where you've got the Xin Zhao and the Xin Zhao and the Jinx, sorry, that will just sprint after you. In the meanwhile, Bin will look for flanks. Bin will control the side waves. Bin, even after a horrendous early game, let's be honest, now has a bounty. And Dagda, I don't want to overstep. I'm a monkey play-by-play, right? I feel like it's a little bit shocking from BLG that he's 50 CS down after how that early game went.
Yeah, well, I mean, we already talked about it, right? Bin has just been taking these waves that are being shoved into him over and over again. Look, he's bot side now to collect another wave. He's just been top. He's just been fed waves over and over again by BLG. So I'm not entirely surprised. Now Zika, he might need to Destiny out of here.
Oh, he doesn't get to, though. He gets ulted away by SOFM, knocked up now. And sure, you'll flash away. Maybe he survives for that one, but, you know, that's a flash for a flash. Actually, all things considered, that's kind of an even trade. I'm surprised that Zika got away with it in that way.
And BLG are staring at Baron. They cleared a ward. So they're just not in a position to follow up on anything. And this is what makes it like so sad watching BLG, is that they just don't know how to accelerate these games or ever feel like they're in a position to trade cross map if these plays go down. So right now, like Suning, they are just happy to absorb all this pressure, get the gold in their favor. Cosmic Drive is now completed for Bin. Huanfeng is quickly approaching his Lord Dominic's regard. And you're good to go with that stage. Like, what else do you need on this team?
I do feel like maybe BLG should have pulled the trigger on Baron. I think other LPL teams
okay, they are.
would have gone for that one. They're just going to do it now instead. Bin has TP, Suning in the mid lane right now, and SOFM gets punished big time for trying to face check this one, but BLG will peel off. They'll respect the potential team fight that Suning can bring to the table. And as you said earlier, a 5v5 is really not what BLG wants. So Suning get to move in, they muscle their way into the river, and BLG immediately just have to back away.
Yeah, I wasn't actually sure if we were just going to see Suning just turn and start at the Baron themselves. Like, they have a bunch of shields that are coming through from Lulu, Gordrick are on towards SOFM as well. So the innate healing that the Xin Xiao brings with his kit as well. They possibly could have started that out and baited BLG into a fight, but looks like they're perfectly happy to just go, right, we hit late game, we win, so why risk taking any of these plays? So right now, Angel basically being a secondary support here for Huanfeng, making sure that nothing can happen here from BLG's perspective, and we're kind of slowing down. Like, there's just, BLG have kind of missed their mark here.
Yeah, it does feel like perhaps the window of opportunity is gone from BLG, and Dagda, we talked about this at the start of the game, right? BLG, they're this team that, yes, their early games can be good. Yes, their late games can be good. And like, we've seen the potential. We know that it exists. We know that there's talent on this roster. But every single mid-game, it feels like the game plan falls apart a little bit. It feels like the coordination just isn't there. Bin just face plants over the wall there as he fails to get his E off. But it just feels like BLG, it's just never quite working. It feels lackluster from this team.
Yeah, I agree. I think the mid-game portion, they just really don't know how to play forward with a lot of these compositions. And they heavily rely on aiming to carry, as he might have to in this fight.
No, the flame jump is just too beautiful. Zika tries to make the ult in happen, but it's just not happening for BLG. And Suning, great. Ults on cooldowns? Sure, we'll siege all day then. Okay, Bin actually could be in trouble. This is a 2v1 on the top side, but he is playing Gwen, and this is 2021. So maybe he wins that 2v1 at this point with three items with a ninja tabby.
It's a Gwen at 30 minutes. I don't think you take that fight anymore, especially like you don't have a huge amount of damage as Huanfeng gets excited, starts to put damage forward. But again, like now, just you can see items are hit. Suning have the control. They're the ones pushing in. Dragon in 4 seconds as well. They just fall back. They pick that up. They can start to threaten Baron. And Suning are very aware that they have hit the spike where they are just stronger.
And I just love watching Huanfeng when he's fed on a hyper carry. He's just a machine, man. Like the split second that you overstep, Huanfeng will mow you down. It's going to be another Drake taken as well by Suning. They had Prio in mid, so they can just happily wander over to that one. That soul point for Suning, an Ocean Soul no less, with the composition that scales better on paper. We're no longer in the realms of like BLG need to be proactive. We're in the realms of BLG need to find a miracle play to win this game.
Yeah, they need to try and find some sort of pick. And again, now we're starting to see, hey, look, actually, maybe we can have BuBu and Zika working together. They kind of realized it because BuBu working alongside Zika in the spot side. But the problem is he's going to walk over a bunch of vision. So say if Bin or anyone ends up down here to try and clear out this wave, they're going to know that BuBu's there. I mean, BuBu, I don't think he even spotted the ward there. Yeah, now going back to clear it out. But you've now committed both these guys to bot side. So if you're Suning, potentially go for a Baron, or else just look for a pick with yourself. With Huanfeng having this, like, what was it, the I feel like it's to follow that car build where it's just like you got Lulu who hits the accelerator and then you just run them down.
Been looking for a 2v1 on the bot side. What is this? Champion Zika surely will go down. Needleworks are caught out. The International Space Station is in serious danger of getting hit by a 1-1 rocket across this series here. Zika zips on out of there. Bin can't quite finish the 2v1. But honestly, BLG, this is getting tragic.
But, like, here's the thing, right? Bin isn't even behind anymore. He's 2 levels up on Bubu. He was a level up on Zika. He's almost full build. Like, we're 33 minutes in. Like, the fact you set Bin behind doesn't matter anymore. He's a full-fledged Gwen, and he's willing to take over in the side lane. So, for BLG, where's your win con now? Where'd it go? It doesn't exist anymore.
It does feel like we're beyond the realms of BLG being able to win through pressure, and we're beyond the realms of them being able to win a team fight. So unless something goes drastically wrong for Suning, this is feeling good for Suning fans at home. But
I know how BLG win. Huanfeng has taken down the International Space Station. It crashes onto Suning's composition, kills them all, and then BLG can end the game.
Potentially through space-based disasters, there is a small window of opportunity for BLG. I think the other more realistic way is Suning make a big mess up during this game, which we have seen before. SOFM especially, bit of a reputation for overstepping and going too far and getting caught out. So it is possible that BLG, off the back of something like that, could get it. Also, now actually pressuring both side lanes at the same time. Bin won't be able to defend this. If the rest of BLG can keep Suning busy and keep them distracted, this is an opportunity for BLG to try and get some pressure down on them.
I mean, there is a spot here, but I think as well you can see the second that Thresh, Jinx both disappear from mid lane, Zika has to back away. You know he's not strong enough to deal with Bin in a 1v1, so again, that pressure kind of lacking. They're starting to move in towards this top side, but I don't know if they're actually going to be able to get control here. They're more trying to see if they can help at least for the moment. Zika try and push in that wave and chip away at the turret with the Witchbane, but it's not going to do enough.
The game is going long enough now, Dagda, where we're getting into the realm of potentially multiple Flame Horizons happening. We've got a Flame Horizon in the mid lane for Zika, who's 100 CS up. We're getting close to a Flame Horizon for Bin as well, as he's 80 CS up in that top side. It does feel like the meta is shifting towards these very, very long games, and these kind of compositions that BLG are bringing to the table in these longer, drawn-out matches are much harder to pull off, but you do have mojo factor with this kind of composition. You can make really creative plays, really creative macro plays to try and win yourself the game. As SOFM, you might find Zika off in the side lane here. Zika pops the Destiny, and SOFM won't be able to close the gap.
Yeah, I mean, he tried. He actually Destiny's back in to beside the wave to start pushing that wave as well. So, yeah. BBU now in a position here to at least shove in that wave. Bin has just put on cleanup duty. He's actually sold his control ward so then he can get his needlessly large rod. He is very close to full build thanks to BLG, and now Zika starting to push in a bot side, way supporting him, but SOFM is behind. Might be looking to see if he can get something, but found a break in the Sunni defense. They managed to get that top lane turret.
So small bit of pressure, small win for BLG. And now we have to flip the conversation around, right? We've been kind of criticizing BLG all game. Even when they were ahead, we were kind of criticizing them. At what point do we have to start saying, okay, Suning, you got to start trying to win the game now? Because BLG are taking an inhib on the top side. They're trading this for an Ocean Soul. I feel like this still actually favors Suning, ultimately, having that soul in your pocket.
Yeah, it is at least a nice pickup for BLG where, look, they're starting to get some pressure on top side, and now you've got a permanent wave pushing, right? So the opportunity to stick Zika and Bubu in the same lane becomes a little bit better, and you can have a little bit more control there. So this actually does help out BLG quite a bit, but as we said, like, Ocean Soul is going to be very difficult for Suning to deal with. I honestly think as Suning, you've got to start hard forcing things where you're just like, right, we are going to take Baron. Come fight us. We have Ocean. Yeah. We're going to be fine. We're not going to take too much damage. But you've got to force BLG to start playing to, again, like, to your strength. Yeah. Otherwise, BLG will kind of just go back. And here we go. Well, Suning hard forcing this Baron.
Speak of the devil, Dagda. Suning have heard you, and they immediately
start this Baron off. Wei is over the wall, has flash, has smite. Paranoia comes in. Zeke is here too, but the Paranoia is all at bay. Mubi is down in the bottom side of the map. And Suning can just keep this going all day long. Bin should be able to answer the split push that's going on, but Suning have backed away from the Baron. I'm a bit surprised that they're backing away here. I feel like they win the 4v4 pretty comfortably.
Yeah, exactly. And you still have the TP from Bin, right? So if Bubu ever shows up, you're fine. Destiny already used from Zika, so he's no way into the backline. Like, I think you still fight the 4v4, especially when you're full item Jinx, right? Like, you are a monster. You've got a double support protection around you. I think Suning could have still gone for it, but now instead, you know, you get a lot of these big ultimates coming out from BLG. No Destiny, no Paranoia, and now you got at least a bit of time here where BLG can try and push in, but Suning know that they can still try and pressure them.
Look at this as well, Rob. You got Huanfeng just clearing the mid wave just because it needs clearing. But it's SOFM that's going to deal with the supers in the top side. Even though he's not the most effective at doing it, Suning know there's no pressure anywhere. There's no like time limit on clearing these supers. So they're like, all right, give SOFM an extra 90 gold every single wave. Give him a bunch of gold because our main carry in the Jinx, I just punched my microphone. Sorry about that, everyone. Our main carry in the Jinx is already fed. Like 500 CS and 5 kills. Huanfeng's good. Let's get some gold elsewhere on the team.
Munch, can we just turn on your camera and like just have you punch your mic as a bit of action? Because we haven't really had any for a while. Although Suning, again, back towards this Baron. Zika is on the flank.
Does feel like this should be the Suning Baron. Flash over from Wei. It's stolen by aiming of all people. The Ezreal. I think that was just a Mystic shot because True Shot Barrage had already been used. And SOFM hangs his head in shame on that one. As now Zika gets a tier 2 in the mid lane as well. And Suning are running out of towers to defend. There's the slow though. Zap going to be flashed away from Zika. Blast Cone over the wall. Bubu's like, see you later, buddy. You're on your own on this one. But it looks like you'll get out anyway.
I cannot believe that actually got stolen by a Mystic shot from Amy. And look, what I wanted to see was Suning baiting them in to a fight. So you actually force the engagement. This 50-50 was not the call that I really wanted to see. Because if you, again, we were talking about the ability for you to chase down with the Shurelias, with this Jinx, having the rapid fire cannon, the slow from Stormrazor, just force the fight. But instead, they end up going for the 50-50. Now you've given the split push composition a little bit more firepower because they've got the Baron for that split push. But it has been tough still for them to fully crack this base. They have the top lane inhibitor down, but that's going to respawn in just a second. Zika isn't really strong enough to go and like fight against, say, SOFM in a side lane or anything, so you still need a bit more time from BLG before you can really find these cracks. You need to be hope that Suning mismanages. That was a lot of damage.
We're going full flex state with that kind of damage coming through from aiming. And I have to say, we're talking about Jinx being this late game hyper carry. Ezreal is no slouch in that regard either. Aiming's also full build. And with the way that Suning are playing right now, oh, Zika, you're in trouble, buddy. You got a Destiny out of there, but doesn't look like... Oh, I think it was on cooldown. It's on a split second of cooldown remaining. I think it's finally available, but he gets out anyway. BLG pressuring the rest of the map. And Suning, they're just being too indecisive. It feels like they're going to just not make a decision until they lose the game.
Yeah, I think they need to try and like have Lulu actually match these, at least work with Bin, because again, like we're seeing that Huanfeng can chase people down. If you stick Bin with a Lulu,
drop everything, Dagda. We've got a ward stone in professional play. Angel has it. I can't even remember the name of that item properly, but it actually exists. We're seeing it in professional play. I didn't think this had ever happened, and neither did BLG as they get chased down from the base. Wei will surely fall here. BLG answering on the top side has been in a 2v1 here, but he is playing Gwen, and he's inside his shroud. That's the GA popped, and Eamon just gets chunked out as out goes Bin, survives a 1v3, and Huanfeng is here to clean things up. Zap goes out, but the slow doesn't land, and in the meantime, Zika's pushing on the bot side. SOFM's here, TP coming through. This is the action we've been waiting for. Zika surely falls. Zonya's going to buy a second of time, but that's all it will buy. Kill for Angel here. And BLG, they've lost 2 members. What can they get elsewhere? It doesn't look like anything as Bin is here to defend. They have to recall, and Suning now in the offensive.
Yeah, Suning just need to stop running around in this like 1-4 style. Although they have managed to pick off one and Wei. So this actually could be the end here as Suning start to push in. They just need to hard commit to this. I want to see Bin TP in. Like, this is where you can force all the fights that you've been waiting for.
They can surely get a mid lane inhib here at minimum, but also Elder is up in 20 seconds time. Dagda, I think Suning just peel away from this one. You know that Zika will be spawning after the Elder Drake is already up. He has TP, but this feels like it's going to be exceptionally difficult to contest. Oh, but it was all a bait. They just waited in the brush and now they're onto Weiwei. This is the pick. This is the moment. Suning, they can push up the mid lane. They might just end the game.
Yeah, I forget about Elder. Like, Elder only works when you need more fight. Just take your minions in the mid lane and end the game. Like, who's actually going to threaten you here? You've got so much protection for Huanfeng. He can free hit onto these towers. Nobody's really going to be able to deal with them, but looks like we're going to go back towards the Elder. Yes, Suni, you already won team fights. Now you ultra win team fights, but you're not finding enough of these fights to actually make use of this, it feels.
And Angel at this point in the game, he's got real excited off of the E3 announcements. He's going full Spartan with the 117 scoreline here. And Suning need to. After this game, it is felt very difficult. In a game that I feel like Suning have had an advantage for a long time in compositionally. They really struggled to commit to any objectives. They weren't really willing to force the Baron except one time. And then they lost the Smite fight to an Ezreal. Not a great look for Suning, but it might be just good enough to be able to finish this one out. They have the Elder Dragon. It's time to pressure the mid lane. You can see the duo side laners together in that top side that you've been prescribing all game long, Dagda. But I don't know if they can win this base race. Here we go, trying to get onto the Nexus here. TP's being channeled. We've got a base race on our hands here, Dagda, but I don't think it's winnable for BLG because you're against the Jinx. The Nexus is already going down and barely towers have been taken. Suning, I mean, it wasn't even a race. It's Turtle versus the Hare.
That is the only way that this game could have ended. That was the only way that we could have got a finale here. Because that was long, drawn out, not a huge amount of sense being made, but we got there in the end. And Suning actually come out on top.
I'm not really sure what conclusions we should draw from this one, Dagda. I have to say, moving forward, when we look at the bigger picture, when we look at the standings, BLG and Suning, I feel like I'm drawing negatives for both of them off of this game. This felt incredibly indecisive. I would say BLG were the more decisive team out of the two teams, but it's not by a huge margin. It's like when one team is making no decisions whatsoever, it's pretty easy to be the more decisive team. The mid game definitely a struggle for BLG. They finally figured out how to get some pressure down later on, but Suning had a Jinx with a Lulu that you just get to the late game and you just annihilate people. So did feel like BLG were just trying to run around the map and just outpace Suning. That was the only way that they could find a win.
Yeah, I mean, for BLG, like, the biggest thing that you needed to do was try and separate Lulu from the team. Because you couldn't really try and make a pick because of just the survivability that Lulu offers. So instead, what you needed to do was try and go, okay, we're going to look instead at having this 2-3 setup where you got the Nocturne and the Twisted Fate working together, especially around, you know, the 20-minute mark before bins really become relevant. You can very quickly pick off bin. You can start then to make the plays happen, and where you're pushing in top side, you can then create a huge amount, especially around objectives. Like when we saw that dragon starting up on bot side, the fact that we didn't see them trying to pressure on top side and push in onto the inhibitor turret there, I think was kind of a signal that BLG weren't really sure how to play at this composition fully. And it meant that we got into a spot where Suning were able to slowly but surely bring themselves back into it.
All right, Dagda, we've got plenty more time to talk about BLG and Suning. We're not even going to a break. This is the LPL. This is 7 days a week. We're hardcore here. So we're jumping straight to game 2 because we're behind schedule and we've got a lot of League of Legends coming your way today. So let's have a look at the ban pick for game number 2. Looks like BLG, Zika has himself the Zoe. This time they've got the Jinx, completely changing strategy from BLG. And to be honest, I'm totally on board with that because I was not a big fan of the strategy from game number 1. It does feel like this is much more equal in terms of team fighting potential from the two teams.
Yeah, I think when you look towards, at least on BLG side, right, going towards that late game scaling, you got the Jinx, a lot of range in there as well, especially for a composition that has like the Set, the Rumble, the Camille. But I think the bigger thing looking towards Suning's side is this is a game where they're like, we're playing around spin. Like, Angel can pretty easily push in the mid lane and kind of ignore a lot of the damage that Zika churns out. And you can then play up towards that top side with SOFM being able to set up in for success, especially with someone like Anar. if you're able to connect his Camille with that hook shot, wall shot, you can definitely take this guy down very, very quickly in mini-Gnar form. So I'm curious to see now how Suning are going to try and play up towards this top side. Whereas for BLG, it feels like you've kind of got a lot more places you can play through. A pretty decent bot side you can play around, set up aiming for the late game, potential there to try and work with BuBu as well, or at least allow him to hard shove his wave if you want to get full control there. There's at least options here for BLG as to how they want to approach this early game.
We'll see what BLG are going to do in terms of the early game. I'm excited for Zika Zoe, because Zika, this has been one of his highlights, right? This and the Silas, I think, are his two best picks. Certainly, I wouldn't go as far as like best Zoe in the league or anything like that. That we've got a lot of good Zoes here in the LPL, but certainly one of his better picks. And also, again, it feels like this composition has some decent level of agency in the mid game. The Zoe is going to offer a lot of that when you're playing around things like the Dragon, but Angel on the set with a carry in the jungle, Bin on the Camille, importantly, does feel like Suning are playing towards the top side this time, which... Dagda, you were saying it in game number 1. We want to see Suning play towards Bin. We want to see Bin enabled to be the carry for the team.
Well, I think for both of us, we just want to see Suning active in the early game. Like, too many of their games that I'm looking at, we don't actually see them do particularly much. And I think there's been, like, maybe 3 games out of all the games that they played thus far in the LPL that they've actually managed to pick up a gold lead at the 15-minute mark, and even 2 of them were pretty negligible. It was like 100 to 200 gold. It was nothing to write home about. So for Suning, I just want to see them get active. I want them to actually start to set themselves up for success, because you can see like the talent on this squad is insane. Like Huanfeng, one of the best AD carries that we have, Angel making a name for himself as a super strong mid laner, and we got Bin, who, I mean, he's been absolutely insane in the top lane for so long, but it's just about getting to a point in the early stages where they can set themselves up for success and not have to always fight back from a deficit.
So we'll see if they are going to be able to do that. I mean, the laning has been an issue. It has to be said, but it does feel, I don't know, maybe this is just pure hoping. It feels like it's getting better, Dagda. Like, On has looked pretty good on the Thresh, for example, but they do end up just getting caught out. Like, they looked pretty good until they lost the lanes in game 1.
Look,
so
is it that they're getting better or they're playing worse teams? Because, like, they played against IG, we saw this as a big problem for them. Then they played against WE, who was still a big problem. Then they played against Ultra Prime, who have their own issues that are going on. And then we look at this game as well, where BLG, we said, at least at the start, that like their mid game kind of sucks. The early game they can try and snowball through, but we saw it in the last game where it was not the early game that was the problem. It was the mid game where BLG struggled and Suning were able to bring it back. But if this was a team that had a better understanding of how to play out that style, I don't think we'd be seeing Suning with a 1-0 lead here.
Yeah, it does feel like game 1 was a bit compositional, right? It was a bit about just Suning scaled up and had a Jinx and a Lulu, and what are you really going to do about that? Ooh, BuBu jumping in onto Bin, but basically did 0 damage because of Camille's passive. So little unfortunate there. And Dagda, I have to say, I think we're in for a bit of a quiet early game, aren't we, really? We've got a Senna and a Jinx in the game. Both of these teams are, like, our biggest criticism of both of them is, can you please do something before the 50-minute mark? So it's feeling inevitably like this is just going to be a pretty long one for us.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, one of the things that we had, like, at least prepped for opening up on the day was, like, talking about how slow these junglers are. Like, I mean, if you look at SOFM, he's averaging a minus 600 gold lead at 15. Neither of these junglers have any first blood participation. I mean, the first bloods that we've actually seen picked up on BLG have been Zika essentially solo killing people. So unless we see that again, which is probably not likely when you're seeing a set, yeah, I think we're going to be taking a bit of a slow one. SFM though, now moving in though to see if he can get some vision control, at least spot out where Weiwei's going to be.
He didn't see it. He never saw the ward, I guess.
Yeah.
I think, I'm pretty sure he walked through that brush as well, but he must have just been looking elsewhere on the minimap while he walked through the brush. It does happen, but that is going to be a lot of information taken by BLG. They know that he just dipped in the vision and then dipped back the other way again, so they know there's a ward there, and immediately you see Weiwei on your minimap just goes and clears it.
Yeah, and because you know you've got Rumble topside, we actually get PP God has moved in to get some vision control on bot lane, and that's going to be cleared out as well. So, look, 1-for-1 trade on the wards. You know, a kill is a kill. You got to keep it on board. All right, let's go. There you go, Juan Fong. That's the extra gold you wanted.
And just through lane dominance, BLG with a 400 gold lead, but Suning want to answer that one. Zika's in trouble here, and sure, the portal, it looks pretty, but the Lancer from PP God, he actually gets out with that one. I can't believe he got away with that. Wei looking to smite the Drake. In they go. It's a 50 HP smite from Wei there.
No!
The Blasco nearly kills Aiming, but he gets away with it. PP God now getting chased through the jungle. The bubble will stop the chase. And all of that for nothing to happen. That was tense, Dagda.
That was people run. That was a scary one. That one. I thought someone was going to go down. But either way, look, the BLG managed to escape. They get the dragon. Flashes burnt galore. But, yeah, I mean, a big pickup there for BLG. Certainly when you've got something like this and in the bot side, you want to be trying to pick up these early dragons. The fact Zika managed to escape away from this is insane. I think a little bit of miscommunication there between Angel and Bin. You can see the showstopper kind of left Bin waiting to see what the hell was going to happen, where Zika was going to end up, and it meant that Zika being able to pick up another flash just about escapes away on the great lantern from PP God.
So it was a tight one. I think that's what we would refer to in the industry as squeaky bum time, Dagda, where it's getting a little bit too close. Both of your butt cheeks fully clenched in that kind of situation. But Zika gets out with it. He's fine. He's all right. So no harm, no foul. Monfong playing that fasting center alongside the Tom Kench. So obviously, bit of a CS lead in favor of BLG, as you would expect, because being a melee character trying to farm versus a Jinx is always going to be tough, because every time you go in, you just get blasted by a rocket.
Yeah, it's interesting though to see that we're... Oh, hang on, I'm going to hold on to my point. Is Bin is about to get dove.
He is, but there's a TP coming through from Angel, and set's pretty good in tower dive situations. PLG are like, you know what? Oh, we don't want any of that. We're out of here.
Yeah, not actually trying to go for that at all. Just decide to move away. Instead, they're just going to take it easy, look over towards this Rift Herald. You have the movement coming up here from Aiming and also from PP God as well, whereas bot side, On and Wanfang are now only trying to make their way up with the Abyssal Voyage.
Maybe a little bit late on this one, but an equalizer forces BLG away. Herald down to 1,000. This could be another 50-50 smite already in the game. In goes Angel onto everyone. All five of them there. There's a four-man face breaker, and soon he just collapsed on top of everyone. BLG blown apart to start this game off, and Aiming doing his damnedest, but it's just not good enough. Suning 5-1.
And SOFM even managed to smite the Rift Herald in the middle of all that. So they get the Rift Herald, they get the fight, and it's so much gold going the way of SOFM. This Rumble is going to be huge in these fights. What a setup from SOFM to find the early win for Suni.
And Angel as well with that four-man face breaker to start it all off. Let's take another look. His great equalizer, but then Angel just showstoppering it.
Yeah, I mean, look, PP God kind of gives it to him there, walking too far forward, straight into the middle of everyone. Now, BLG do separate a little, but Aiming doesn't really have damage right now. You're all getting collapsed on by all angles. Zika not really in a position to get more damage off because of how close quarters that fight is. And from that point on, BLG are just out of sorts as Suning run them over.
And Huanfeng is just like in heaven. There are so many souls laying around on the floor. At that point, you actually panic as a center player, and you're like, which soul's going to time out first? I've got to try and time it strategically. It's like when a massive wave with weird HP minions crashes under a tower, and you're not sure which ones to go for. Same deal, just souls. Wet dream of any center player, I will say. Fantastic fight here from Suning. 2k gold lead now in their favor. It's the opposite of what we saw in game number 1. And Suning, one thing we have seen is when they are the team with an advantage, they generally speaking do manage to win out the mid game. That's when they've been strongest.
Yeah, like the 15 to 25 minute mark is where Suning definitely are more comfortable playing the game. They know how to progress onto objectives. They're good at playing the map. So when they manage to get these early leads, it's very difficult to wrestle it back from them. And especially on a composition like this, right? Ooh, hang on, SOFN.
Seeker's in trouble here and just going to get burnt through. I mean, there's nothing he can do. That's a lot of damage from SOFM at this point. He's got 10 stacks on his Dark Seal. He's almost finished his Night Harvester as well. Or in fact, I don't think he's even going Night Harvester. I think he will go towards the Proto Belt potentially. Rocket Belt.
No, it's still being Night Harvester. He's okay. Yeah. They just build out of the same thing.
Okay. I just thought because he's playing the Conqueror, usually the Dark Harvest if you're going Night Harvester, right?
It's both, basically. You can kind of mix and match. We've seen, so Dark Harvest is definitely, you get a little bit more late game scaling, but you do have to interact with the lanes a lot more. The Conqueror just straight off the back gives you a lot more damage. Like, you can see here, even with the exhaust, like, Zika completely taken out of sorts. But yeah, both are different options, just better late game scaling with the Dark Harvest, but you do have to have a little bit more interaction with the lanes.
And also, it's SOFM, so you never really know what he's going to bring to the table. Bin getting himself a kill there. There's not much to say on that one as the Hextech Ultimatum comes in and then an Equalizer on top of it. There's very little counterplay available for BuBu. With a Herald in Bin's pocket, he was actually the one to pick that up. You'd expect maybe he could take all 5 plates on that top side because BuBu doesn't have TP. He's fine. There's a land. He's out of there. Second time this game that Zika is pulled to safety by BP God.
Yeah. Well, look, here's the play you were talking about, Munch. A bunch of gold being gifted over towards Bin. Won't quite be able to finish off the tower, but still, I mean, you're going to be very quickly accelerated towards that Divine Sunder. So you have Divine Sunder nearly completed for Bin. Same for Huanfeng. Strikebreaker soon coming through from Angel. And SOFM is going to have a Night Harvester plus more when he actually look towards this. So these dragons suddenly become really, really hard for BLG to try and contest because you're waiting on this Jinx to actually get towards 2 to 3 items before she's relevant, whereas Suning are already hitting that spot.
Man, I wish I could just see Bin's inventory right now in terms of like how much gold he had in his pocket for that recall, because he just got 5 plates plus the kill onto BuBu. He was incredibly rich as he went for that recall. He's almost 2,000 gold up individually in that top lane.
Yeah, the only person beating him right now is actually SOFM in this game. He's got 100 gold more, which is kind of insane for the Rumble. But like, as you're saying, like, look at the difference between Rumble, Camille versus the Gnar, and also this Udyr. Like, you've so much gold situated on the top side of the map, including Angel as well, who's sitting about 600 gold up. So overall, this top side of the map is going to completely belong towards Suning. We're going to get a bit of a look at the pro view here. Oh, nice prediction there on the hop. Doesn't quite get the stun, but the over chase here from BuBu just gives him the opportunity to go for the kill.
Yeah, and he's used the hop, so pretty much just burns down on the equalizer. Very nicely done by Bin, baits it beautifully. And SFM's there to sweep things up, so nice one. 7-1 right now in favor of Suning, as it's feeling a little bit German, a little bit Brazilian in here. But Suning, right now, feeling real good to finish this series off. We've got a bit of cheese coming out from BLG's bot lane here, but Angel just walks past them. He's completely unaware of this one. SFM's on the bot side as well. This actually could be a Suning play. This is the next episode of When Cheese Fails. The equalizer comes in. BP God goes down. Away sprints off with his tail between his legs.
Yeah, we're going to give Nova War and Maximus Black a quick call there just to try and point out what went wrong here. But
them were the days, SOFM, them were the days.
They were, but SOFM ticking. Oh my God, even gets away with it. It's a disaster. It's 9-1, Munch. It's just mean at this stage.
Yeah, this is not looking great for BLG. I think game 1 might have broken them, because this isn't even just one lane who's falling behind. This is the kind of solo queue game where you're playing as your PP God, right? You've got 1 kill, you're like, hey, I'm feeling all right. You press tab and you realize there is literally no advantage for you. Across the entire map, nobody has an advantage. The only advantage you've got is that Jinx is managing to outfarm a Senna that's not farming. That's all you've got on your side right now.
And I think you put it very aptly the other day, Munch, that farm leads are never really something that's going to win you the game. It's plays like this where you get multiple kills that ends up winning you the game. So, yeah, Suning definitely in a position now. 7k up. They've got that second Rift Herald coming through. Top lane already gone. Mid lane gone. They can take a tier 2 with this, as the rest of the team are all collapsing on towards this bottom lane. Keep being safe for a little bit, but they'll have so much pressure here. Like, BLG commit 4 members bot. That just gives a Rift Herald mid so much more value.
Yeah, we're going to see the bot lane tier 1 taken by BLG here, but 3 members strong with SOFM over the wall with that Rift Herald that you're talking about. This could be a mid tier 2. But SOFM actually might even go up towards the top side instead, because On and Huanfeng can just finish this one off themselves. Why Herald when you can just do it with auto attacks instead? Zeta finishes that one off. Huanfeng feeling real good with the Divine Sunder already in pocket.
And now you can see SOFM's moved up to the top side, takes the Krugs away, with Angel pushing that wave. They could try and pressure, but it might be overextending. So I think they're just going to rinse to repeat that one a little bit later on, because SOFM, he wanted to go get himself a Mage Eyes.
Yeah, I mean, why not at this stage? 10 stacks already there. You've still got Rift Herald. You're still totally fine. He's even got a stopwatch there for himself, but BLG, not playing out the map right, is giving so much control towards Suning, and I mean, where have I heard that one before?
Yeah, I'm getting told on the Chinese graphics that SOFM is the OP player of the game, and yeah, you're not kidding, right? he's doing all right for himself. 5-0-4 so far. This Rumble is terrifying. And it looks like Dagda, this one should just be crossing the T's and dotting the I's. And I have to say, for Suning, like, I think everyone knows I'm a little bit Suning biased, right? I'm a bit of a fan.
No, really?
Pew is just getting burnt to a crisp here. The Herald gets the second charge off onto the tier 2. BLG are going to be able to defend that one. But yeah, like, look, from this series, the second game feeling real good for Suning, but the first game still does leave a lot of question marks for what this team can do, right?
Yeah.
The thing that has to come into question is the shot calling on this Suning team, because it does feel like often we get them overextending, often they're not really quite sure how to extend their leads, and when you dominate the laning phase like this, and when you just get, I mean, like, they got 5 kills in a Herald fight. This game is an anomaly. That is not something that you can reliably, predictably do, right? So we do still have questions for Suning moving forward, even if they win this game so dominantly.
Yeah, I agree. But I would really appreciate it if, when we do have those discussions before the game, if you could stop blurting out just how much you love Suning and the copium and everything else that comes with it. Because for anyone who doesn't know, I'll have a chat with Munch before these games start, and every single time it'll be like, yeah, maybe we can do something like Suning's lost the roar, they're not really coming back into it. It's like, what are you talking about? They're amazing. They're like Simba at the end of the Lion King. They've just taken the throne. I'm like, no, Joe, can we just talk about how they actually look right now?
It's happening. They're coming back. I'm telling you, man. Look, 9-1. What more do we need to say? We don't need to take actual analysis into account. We just go off of the results here, Dagda. And right now they're winning, and that's all I need. But like, in the grand scheme of things, they are looking good in terms of like middle of the table, right? In terms of the other teams in the middle of the table, I feel like Suning can have a good shot. But the problem is, it's not even necessarily about how good is Suning. It's about how good is the rest of the table right now. Because LPL is just bonkers at the minute. Like, OMG look amazing there in the middle of the table. LNG have stepped up huge and come to the top of the table. And every time one of these other teams like WE and LNG end up in the top of the table, that means the previous top table teams like JDG, like Top Esports, end up in the middle of the table. So then the middle of the table is absolutely mental as well. And we only have like 3 or 4 teams that you could consider to not really be contenders for playoffs at all.
Yeah, and it's kind of insane, like, right? As you said, OMG just beating RNG. Earlier today, LGD taking down JDG. Like, these are not the things you expect, as Piabu didn't really expect this one either, as he's gonna go down here.
This is not the first time that he's died to that combo, and he even smashes a cheeky little flash on the back of it, just as a bonus. And you know what? Bin went 0-3 and won the game in game number 1. So Bubu was like, well, I left the team, and then Bin did better than me for that split. And then it's against what I believe about top lane, but he went 0-3 and he seemed to win, so maybe I should try this. And now Zika is in trouble, but he should be all right. Gets underneath the tower. Maybe I was wrong, because that center damage is kind of disgusting. Bin getting chased down by 3 members of BLG, but he dodges the hook. It's going to be stunned up anyway. The rocket comes through and aiming will finish that one off. But over towards the top side we have to look, because Suning, they might just take a tier 2 for that.
Yeah, I mean, they may not quite be able to get the tier 2 as the resets come in, but still, like, pressure galore on the top side of the map for Suning. Like, it's a nice pick, but it doesn't really change where we are in the grand scheme of things, especially since it's not going towards someone like Aiming, right, who could potentially get to that spot where he can hard carry this game, but it's a long way off from that. Wanfeng as well can have some insane late game team fights too, so it's not like you've just got an automatic win button going through from Aiming in this game. And he's so far behind in comparison. I mean, Quincy's Rage Blade nearly completed for Wanfeng here as well. Like, it's a not even an uphill battle. It's like scaling Everest at this stage for BLG.
Oh, nice play by PP God, actually. If we're going to focus on something in this game, let's at least focus on the nice mechanics coming out from PP God on his Thresh. We already know he's amazing at Thresh, right? That's kind of a given. That's been one of his best picks the entire time he's been in the LPL. Baron is available, and Suning, with the amount of sustain that they have with a 9,000 gold lead, you feel like they should be able to just threaten this one. But that's what we were saying for a lot of the game in game number 1. And they didn't do so hot on actually pressuring the Baron. So let's see if they learn from that mistake. Let's see if they can do a little bit more in that regard here in game 2.
Yeah. Also, don't forget we are on Magi Watch here over the LPL. 14 stacks currently in the Rumble back pocket for SOFM. So definitely this guy going to be dealing a heap of damage. So if you try and aggress on towards these Barons, it's going to be kind of hard. Like, you're walking through your own jungle. So a lot of these corridors where the Rumble ult is going to get a lot of value. You even have Bin who can lock up people. Huanfeng going to be hitting onto several people with the Q if he doesn't die.
Hang on, this is a pick. Huanfeng flashes away. SOFM's on the way. The equalizer is onto everyone here. Will be a pick for BLG. But Angel now onto everybody as well. Showstopper back out of the play. Bew's low and taken down. It's 1-for-1. And now suddenly Suning are the ones on the chase. Slow comes in. SOFM still has that stopwatch. Remember, he's silenced. Will turn golden. Double kill for Ben as he looks for a little bit more. Turns it into a triple kill. Zika is prime for the taking as he takes a quadra. And Scumbag on takes the pentakill.
How dare you on? Alright, you know what? That's 2 of the biggest ints I've seen in the LPL coming through from On. 1 was the Thresh play, 2 now being not given the penta over towards Bin. God, he was right there, man. That's just unfair.
You know, On's just there like, look, mate. You're the only player in history to get a pentakill in Worlds Finals. I think you'll be okay. You're all right for pentakills, Sonny Jim. I'm taking this kill. I'm the Tom Kench. I'm the king of the river.
Yeah, well, Han and Huanfeng just going a bit over aggressive here, get cut out. Like, everyone from BLG shows out of the woodwork, but you can see here just how much damage is actually in the rest of the squad, because you get Angel managing to set up the play onto Bew here, and as soon as Bin arrives, it's game over. Like, between SOFM and Bin, there's so much damage. And again, we're going to see, like, Bin actually plays this fight incredibly well, right? Gets the insta-kill on towards Thresh, straight in towards the ultimate because he knows he's finished off the Thresh. Gets the kill onto Zika. Okay, well, to be fair, actually, I take it back. On, that wasn't really your fault. He'd already devoured Beauty here beforehand, so the damage was coming whether Bin wanted to or not.
Well, I still blame him, but... You know, I'm objective. I will say as well,
you're the AD carry main on the support main. That makes sense.
Yeah, that's true. Although I have been playing a little bit of mid lane myself recently. Ziggs is
I wouldn't call
back
it playing
in style.
Mid-lane. You've been attempting mid lane. I'll give you that.
All right, let's not go down this rabbit hole. I don't want to roast you in front of all of these lovely people. It's not safe for work, that kind of content. We'll do a roast video at some point later down the line. What I was gonna say was, you know that the players know how this game is going because Zika literally committed suicide to finish off SOFM in that fight. That's personal because he was getting he's on 14 stacks. He lost 10 of those stacks in that last fight. Like, you know that Zika is just taking out a bit of aggravation in that fight onto SOFM.
Well, that's the thing, right? There's a little bit of like disrespect that comes when you get a 25 stack major in a game, right? As maybe we actually get to that point.
The equalizes again. I can't wait to see SOFM's
Angel.
damage stats at the end of this one. Angel flashes over the wall. Aiming is annihilated. And now Suning, who cares if we don't have a minion wave? We'll just wander into the base anyway. Bew gets chased down. The 19th time this game he's been caught up in the ultimatum. Angel dodges the hook, pulls way in. It's just too clean as they get onto the Nexus here. They can't even push yet. They don't even have the minions. They don't even have an inhib taken.
They don't even have an inhibitor.
But they can move back
down.
to the mid lane.
Now they can take the inhibitor towers. Now they can take the inhibitor and yeah. I mean, BLG, you could see the marathon TP that came in from Sunny, and they still managed to make this play work because now they batter down on these turrets.
Oh my Jesus. The damage out from Finn is insane. SOFM trying to get out with his life. Dodges the zap, will be okay on this one.
and manages to maintain just the singular death across the game as they get some bonus kills onto the fountain as well. This is going to be game as Suning round the series out 2-0 after a dicey game 1. They dominate the second.
Far more convincing game 2 from Suning, having full control from the get-go. We saw those early plays going up towards that top side, and it was exactly what you wanted to see. SFM monstrous on this rumble and able to carry the game alongside Bin.
Really exceptional, and getting to see Suning playing around the top side again. Why don't we get this more often? It looks so good when Suning play around the top side. Like, let Bin be the carry that we know he can be. Beautiful stuff to see from them in game number 2. And when things like Ezreal, things like Senna, things like Jinx are meta anyway, it just makes sense to play your safer lane as your bot lane.
Yeah, and as well, I mean, just having strong skirmishers on that top side is something that Suning like to do. They love going for these Rift Herald fights, so why not have a strong composition that can actually let you go for that? Like, this is where they seem to be far more comfortable, is like Angel being able to set up plays for them, having SOFM on something where it can actually start to carry a little bit, and Bin as well having something that can actually set up the fights really well for them, but providing a lot of pressure in side lanes. So I think compositionally, it just suited Suning down to the ground. And then you saw the results, right? They just pop off. They take that fight up at the first Rift Herald. And from then, like 5-1, this just snowballed out of control.
God. SOFM nearly doubling anyone else's damage in the game. It's only Aiming and Zika that could really contest that one. That is mental damage out on the Rumble. And every single equalizer, it was hitting 5 members.
Yeah, he's got to be at like 40% of the team's damage. Like, that is an insane number right there. And you can see it nearly looks like we've taken Weiwei's damage and just added it to SOFM's, because Weiwei not exactly having a huge amount of impact on the damage per minute scale.
I'm just doing a bit of quick maths. If you add the rest of Suning together versus SOFM, they are only like 5,000 or 6,000 ahead of SOFM's damage. All 4 of the other Suning members combined in that game. That is, like, anyone at home that plays jungle and wants to know how to carry on Rumble, just go back and watch that VOD. That's how you carry on Rumble right there. You just get 4 kills in an early Herald fight, buy a Medjai's, and equalizer everyone every single fight.
Or slash Korean advice. Yeah, or slash Korean advice. Just get 4 kills at the start of the game.
Or slash Vietnamese advice, my good sir. Let's take a look at our MVP, who is obviously SOFM off the back of that.
Yeah, I mean, no surprises here. And look, I was hoping we'd get the damage percent, but it doesn't matter. We all know it's ludicrous. We all know it's insane. Yep. The entire game, SFM was popping off. Those equalizers were like just burning through health bars at the end of that game as well. I'm sad we didn't get the full stack Magi's, but still, phenomenal performance from SOFM.
Yeah, I'm going to be refreshing the stats pages to see what the damage percent number was in that game, because that one was unbelievable. We're going to go into a break, and then we'll move into our match of the week, Dagda. We got a banger coming up. It's RNG against LNG. You do not want to miss this.